Greetings YouTube, and welcome to the Free Tiger FT11 knife. The first thing that's going to notice is that this wonderfully bright green color, which is just vibrant and cool. You also notice the machined G10 scales. The sections on the high sections here have a little bit of tooth on them, whereas the lower sections are very smooth. But because of the overall construction and feel here, it's quite comfortable. Your thumb falls right here, so you have this little bit of a ridge here, so it's very comfortable and it feels just like it's very secure in your hand when you go to flip it. These cutouts go all the way through, which I think is kind of spiffy. It is evenly, well centered. You'll notice that it's a double thumb stud, has a little bit of jimping, which is not too aggressive, but it's quite comfortable. You have a little bit of jimping on here, which is recessed. This is actually flushed, but it goes inside, so it's very, very subtle. And you might notice that the spacer here in this semi-open construction is actually aluminum, which I thought was kind of interesting, because a lot of the time you'll see knives like this where that spacer is made out of G10, and either a matching or a contrasting color. But this is anodized aluminum to the same color palette as the scale, which I thought that was very nice. And it's got a decent size protected lanyard hole. You could probably get a piece of normal paracord in there if you gave it a little bit of a push. The pocket clip is a nice degree of strength. Not too heavy, not too light, not a deep pocket, obviously, and because of this shape, you have a nice bit of purchase when it comes to drawing the knife from the pocket. Now, interestingly, I don't think I have ever seen a pocket clip that used this method for holding it in place. Now, I didn't take these screws off, but they're the same as the pivots. So they but they used another Chicago bolt of the exact same model. And I'm not sure I've ever seen that. And I like the visual balance there. I think it's cool looking. I'm not sure if I've ever seen a pivot like this. Not a pivot, but a method for holding a clip in place that used the same fasteners as the pivot. Interestingly, economic. You obviously got them in shop, right? They're off-the-shelf parts, and if you have whatever you can use off-the-shelf parts, you're saving money. And it has the cutout in the G10 on both sides, so this is a right hand or left hand carry knife. Tip up, of course, because that's the way all knives should be carried. And because it is dual thumb studs, that makes this perfectly dual thumb studs and a flipper. That means this is a perfectly universal knife when it comes to deployment. The thumb studs are usable, but they're a little bit recessed, and they're very smooth in the top. Obviously, this is a flipper, so you're probably going to be deploying it as a flipper, but you can pop it with your thumb on the thumb studs if you want to. They do have a little bit of ridging on the side, so you can get some purchase with your finger nail on that. But it is, again, they are a little bit more recessed than you'll see in a lot of thumb studs, particularly knives that are just a thumb stud deploy. But this is a flipper, and it came out of the box just like that. I've had to make no adjustments to it. It deployed really nicely, and you'll notice that I hope you'll notice that the scales are, the liners rather, are skeletonized, and there's a large hole at this end on the blade end, and they have some slots because again, those slots go through the knife, which gives it a nice look. I enjoy a skeletonized vibe like that. I think it's kind of cool, though it does pick up a little fuzz. You might see something in there because I did carry this for a while. We have a nice swedge here. It's aggressive. I enjoy that kind of a look, and it is a flat grind here. And it came out the box with a reasonably sharp edge, though not shaving sharp. There is no movement in either direction, and you have about a 30% lockup on that, I think. Yeah, about 30% on that. It's very comfortable. Interestingly, I just realized this, the liner doesn't have any cutout. They usually have a little bit of machining on there to give the liner a bit of spring, but they don't have it here. Interesting. I didn't really notice that till just now. I will admit that I didn't have a scale at the moment, I apologize, but it is a little on the heavier side than I first thought it would be, so I'm glad they skeletonized it. That kept it from being too heavy. It's got a nice feel to it, nice grip in here, obviously full 4-finger grip. If you like the reverse grip, it is also quite comfortable. With this here and that little bit of jimping, you have a very secure grip. Now, I think I would put this on the medium heavy side for duty, because it has a nice firm feel to it. It's a nice wide blade. So I would put this a little bit above just a medium duty knife when it comes to cutting. I had no difficulty using it at work to just, the general everyday work tasks. So overall, I was quite impressed with this Free Tiger FT11. The use of these fasteners is just interesting to me from a like a design standpoint. The scale cutouts in the G10, the color option. I don't remember how many colors this was available in, but I liked the really vibrant green. Though admittedly, if you drop this in the forest in the springtime, you may lose it. It's still very cool looking, and I quite like it. It deployed nicely. The flipper and the thumb studs are equally useful deployment methods, though I'm a big flipper fan. I am fully sold that flippers are the way to go when it comes to knives. Not to mention, is it fast, but it also gives you a nice protection from keeping your fingers from rolling up onto that edge. So yeah, this is the Free Tiger F11. I'm really happy with this in my collection. If you like a slightly larger blade that has some interesting design features, this may be something you're interested in. Thank you for being here, and I hope that you'll come back for the next gear review.